Can I beat Monster Hunter World without dying? Just one life? Yeah, sounds terrible. Let's do it. Okay, so here are the rules. I cannot die, fate, or card to any monster whatsoever. If that happens, I have to delete the character, delete that save, and start all over from the start. All over from kill 5 Jaguars. Oh boy, that sounds so terrible. Let's make things more interesting. The Palico cannot revive me either. Yeah, sounds even worse. Let's do it. And of course, Defender armor and weapons is not allowed. I'm gonna use the regular weapons and armor from the game. If I wanna use something, I'm gonna have to farm for it. No cheesing my way out of this. Now, as for my plan of weapons and armor, we're gonna make things up as we go. As we kill the monsters, we check the skills, we're gonna farm a little bit of armor, upgrade our defenses, we're gonna check whatever weapon we can wield, and we're gonna go from there. Yeah, sounds like a plan. A plan that doesn't exist. That can be called a plan. Alright, our first mission, hunt 7 Jaguars. Quick, simple, easy, no problems at all. So we're going back right now for the second mission, and it's to hunt Castodons. Yeah, I know, hunting Castodons, it's boring. But at least Great Jaguars appears at the end of the mission and show us how it's done. Great Jaguars is a very simple monster. It's not even a monster, it's just a big punching bag. At this point, whatever weapon you use, whatever strategy you use, doesn't matter where you hit it, it's all gonna work. It's weak to a bunch of stuff, every zone is a good hit zone, just hit the guy and put it out of his misery. Poor thing. Next thing we do, I decide to do a little bit of an upgrade. I upgrade to the Iron Sword too, and I build the Hunter set. Very simple, low level stuff still, but a tiny little bit better than what we had. Okay, so let's keep going the story. Now next we have to rebuild a campsite. And on the way there we meet Anjanath. And at this point, our equipment is not prepared to deal with it, so I decide to run away. It's going to be a real turn off to die so early in this challenge because of a dumb decision.
Hello?
We just ignore it for now. And then we meet Kulu, our cute little chicken dinosaur. It's actually harder than the Jaguars, thank God. Mostly because it can throw rocks at you, and the rock is really tough and makes your weapons bounce. It's the first monster that teaches you that some places you shouldn't hit on a monster. You have to learn where to hit a monster, and Kulu is the first monster to teach you that. Everywhere is a good hit zone, but when it holds the rock, you have to pay attention. But Kulu is also an early game monster and falls down pretty quickly. So before facing Pilky, I wanted to change strategies. The sword and shield is my main weapon. I used it to beat everything. I also know how to use the insect glaive. But I wanna change weapons for Monster Hunter Wilds, so I'm gonna use something different. I'm gonna use things that I don't know how to use. I'm gonna use the longsword and probably the hammer. So for Pilky, I'm gonna use the longsword. No handler, shut up, I don't wanna use the SOS, this is a solo challenge, no one has to put up with my bullshit. Okay, so Pilky is also another simple monster. It can fly, but it doesn't do that much. However, it deals poison damage. And in the beginning I had forgotten how little our health bar was. And if you're not careful, poison's gonna chew through that pretty quickly, so bring some antidotes. Another thing that I had in mind was how little sharpness our weapons also have. I had to sharpen a lot during my fight with Pilky, especially because Anjanath was feeling a little bit lonely and tried to crash the party a bunch. At some point, Anjanath stood guard in front of a Pilky nest when he was about to die, and he actually made me look for some dung pods. When I was about to throw some dung at him, he just went for a walk to trick me for a little bit, and he appeared again before the hunt was over. Yeah, Pink Dino, your time is coming, just you wait. Well, at this point, even Puki was sick of Anjanet's bullshit and ran away to meet with his real friend, Ray Jaguars. And next, I guess it's time for the best kind of mission, huh? The Squirt mission. Oh boy! Actually, it's not that bad. After enjoying watching the handler push a cart uphill for a little bit, well, actually longer than I wanted to, we have to face two monsters in this mission. An optional Rathian, and you have to face a Barroth. And I had to take a decision. Do I want to fight a Rathian, or do I just carry it away because I don't have to fight it and go fight Barroth? Since I was live streaming it and people were trying to make me die, I decided to fight the Rathian. Since I actually fought it so many times, it wasn't actually so bad. It dealt a little bit more of damage than I expected, and I had to sharpen way more than I liked it, but it wasn't too bad. And I had so many close calls in this fight, I started to get worried about my low health bar. And I decided I would do the canteen side missions to buff up the canteen ingredients and get some more health buffs before starting a mission. I believe this low health bar is really what's going to kill me, so I have to prepare for it. Let's make it go bigger. And if I find some armor sets that have the health up skill, I'm probably going to get it. And after killing the Queen of the Land, it was time for Barroth. Barroth is actually a really fun fight. It is one of the few monsters that the head isn't a weak spot, and you can only break the head if you are using a blunt weapon like the hammer or the hunting horn. Otherwise, you should probably be hitting the little small front paws. Those little T-Rex arms that he has are the weak spots. Another thing to take notice is that the mud that he throws out can actually inflict you with water blight. It's also a really fun monster that teaches you how to dodge, because he acts like a train. He's going to charge at you and pretty much goes choo choo and you have to get out of the way. I really like Barroth as a teaching monster. Other than that, it's a pretty smooth fight. If you are a new player, you might get stuck in the mud and not be able to dodge out of the way. And you might get stunned a lot because you don't know the moves. But other than that, Barroth is a pretty smooth fight. You don't really have to know what the monster does. He's quite slow, he teaches you, he has very good tells. Rathian gave me a lot of work, but mostly because I have shit gear. And after killing Barroth, it's time for the next fight. But before that, we have to go to the workshop and do a little upgrading on our equipment. So this made me realize that I have very little resources. So I guess it's time to do a couple of optional missions to get some more armor spheres and cash to upgrade my stuff. So let's hunt a bird, I guess. Poor Kulu. I need the money, Kulu. I also took the time to do a couple of more canteen missions and get some more ingredients to make my health bar a little bit bigger before some fights. And then it was time to go on the mission. Time to go fishing. Time to kill Geratodus. It's a really simple fight. You just hit it, whatever you do works, unless you're really worried about weaknesses, because like Barroth, when it's covered in mud, it's weak to something. When it isn't covered by mud, it's weak to some other things. Other than that, just hit the monster until it dies. It doesn't have really strong moves or anything, just flops around like a fish. Quick, easy, simple. After a little bit of fishing, I had to hunt another Barroth, this time capturing it, just to get a little bit more resources and stuff to upgrade my stuff. But on this hunt, we actually met a Diablos, and I had to run away like a little girl. I do not want to deal with the Diablos right now. It's not like a Rathian that I can just pull my way through. I really think I can get one hit at this point, or combo when it starts charging at me, so let's just not interact with it whatsoever. I can actually say that Gilly Metal saved my life in this hunt. Completely saved my ass. Then it was time for Tobi Kadachi. Tobi got me worried because when I first played Monster Hunter, Tobi was my first quest fail. I didn't really know how to upgrade my stuff. It was a little bit too fast for me, and I of course didn't know what I was doing, so it failed my quest. This time, of course, I was much more prepared and I know the monster, but I still was quite worried about it because its electricity attacks can actually stun you and combo you. Its tail attack is actually quite powerful and will one-shot you if you are not upgrading your armor. But since I am upgrading my stuff, it wasn't much of a problem. I got hit a little more than I'd like. I still feel like my sharpness and my health is way too low, but Tobi was a nice good boy so far. Only Rathian gave me problem up to this point. After killing Tobi, we finally unlocked the farm, and farming honey is a huge boon for this point of the game, because doing mega potions, creating mega potions is quite difficult when you have to hunt for honey all the time. And as we all know, the regular potions suck, even with health skills, so mega potions is probably the best item you can carry with you at this point in the game. So having the farm is really great. And like I said, I want to keep upgrading my canteen to get more health and stamina buffs. So I have to steal some eggs in some missions, and I decided to create the Kuluyaku arms. They have the skill Pro Transporter that helps you carry heavy stuff. It's really good in those kind of missions. So I just put on my Gilly Metal and went stealing some eggs. But the Epsors decided they were going to stay right on top of the nest and really fuck up my pick-up egg input. I stood here way longer than I expected just to pick up the egg. And then the game decided to have a laugh at my face, showing me some downy quakes on top of an Epsors. It's awful. The game always does this when you're not trying to look for them. Following that, we continued our mission to improving our canteen with better ingredients to help our health. And the next mission? Fishing again. So we decided to do the manliest kind of fishing possible, using a hammer. After that, we played a little bit of Exterminator, hunting some Vespoids. Fuck Vespoids. With this, we've upgraded our canteen, got a little better ingredients, got a little more of a health buff, and decided to continue on our quest. Then it's time for the big pink dinosaur, Anjanath. Many Monster Hunter players that started with Monster Hunter World say that Anjanath is their first wall. And I can see why. It wasn't mine, but I can totally see why. Ideally, you want to hit a monster's face, but Anjanath is a little bit too tall for inexperienced players using short-range weapons like the sword and shield or the dual blades. So you're going to be hitting the legs most of the time, and the legs aren't good weak spots until you break them. And only after you break the legs, you can actually make the Anjanath trip and fall so you can do more damage to the face and tail. And it's also very intimidating to try and hit the face when you're an experienced player, because it's going to try to bite you and breathe fire on your face a lot. The game actually says that if you hit the neck, you can weaken the fire breath attacks, but for a new player, that's a really daunting task. So most of the time you're just going to be hitting the legs over and over. Also, it has a really annoying charge attack with a really funky hitbox. It always hits me when I think it won't. I don't like that attack. I learned how to respect it, and I think most new players should respect that move. If Angelus is charging at you, just get out of the way, wait for it to finish the attack and start again. Take this time to heal, to sharpen a weapon, don't even try to hit it even if it has its back turned to you. You're going to get hit either way, it's really weird. This hunt in particular, even though it didn't kill me, it went way worse than I expected. Anjanath gave me a lot of damage. I had even more close calls than I was fighting Rathian. I now respect the pink dinosaur way more than I did, and it is one of my favorite monsters. I really respected it a lot. Now I respect it even more, and I can totally understand why some people have trouble with it. Not only that, but I think I had a little bit of help in this mission. Thanks, Rathalos!
I'm dying! Help me!
And then Anjanath got pissed and decided he would be a real asshole and made me chase him through the entire map. And then finally, the fight was over. And then it was time for the worst part of the entire game. The Zorah Magdaros Siege, Part 1. Oh my god. Thankfully, we still have our Koloyaku arms, and this greatly helps us with carrying the cannonball ammo. Otherwise, this would make this mission even more tedious, because it seems no matter what you do, no matter how efficient you play, Zorah Magdaros is on a timer, and it always takes way too long to change between phases. It is truly awful, and I hope this never reappears in any Monster Hunter game ever again. And even then, after you manage to break all the magma cores, even the one at the very tip of Zorah's face, the fight's still not over, and you have to have a lot of patience just wandering around waiting for Nergigante to do its thing.
Hello there.
And it's even more anticlimactic because once he appears, you slap him twice across the face and he just flees from the fight. Why do you do this to me, Zorah? Almost 24 minutes. Every fight up to this point was about 5 minutes. The really bad ones like Anjanath running away all the time took about 9 minutes. And then Zorah Magdaros takes me 24 minutes and I can't speed up the fight. Oh my god. Thankfully, after that shit show, we go back to playing the game as you're supposed to. We're fighting Tzitziaku, the blue dinosaur photographer. I really like this dinosaur. It has a nice shade of blue, I love its design, I like its special move that it flashes everyone around and everyone gets stunned. It's a really cool designed monster. I enjoy its fight, it's simple, it's a little bit more challenging than Koloyaku because its kicks and tail swipes are quite fast and they can knock you off. It's more of an annoying monster than a dangerous one. Its whole job is to annoy you. It's to give you a little kick to push you away, it's to slap you with the tail and push you a little bit away, and to hit you with a flash and laugh at your face while you're stunned. I also took this chance to hunt a few more Tsitzis to unlock the Choral Orchestra. Since I can't use the Vigor Wasp to revive myself, and I rarely ever use it to heal myself, I might as well use the Choral Orchestra and get some small buffs for my Pelacol. Next, we're going to upgrade our canteen, so we're going to equip our cool arms and steal some Rathian eggs. And it was time for Paolumo, our cute balloon bat. Paolumo is more of a funny, cute monster than a hard, noticeable one. Its whole shtick is that it can blow up its neck and float around like a balloon. However, when doing this, it has a move that is quite strong. In 1 second it is a balloon, in the other second it's heavy like a rock falling from the sky. This move can deal a lot of damage. It seems to have a high stun rate, so if you're not careful, it's going to kill you. If your armor isn't upgraded, if your health isn't full, It can hit you for a lot of damage and then suddenly stun you and hit you again. I was a little bit worried because I have died this a bunch of times before, mostly because of being stunned or just being reckless with low health, but I played slow and nice and we managed to beat Pauluma. The funny thing is that during this fight, everybody decided to show up a little bit, and at the same time. Tsitsi and Legiana all appear to beat the ass of Pauluma a little bit. Thanks for the help, guys. Another important thing about Pauluma is that when it's close to dying, it will retreat back to its nest, and that can change the fight dramatically. Unlike most monsters, it will change its behavior inside its nest. It lives in sort of a cave with holes up in the ceiling, and it will fly around those holes trying to ambush you. If you're not careful, it will get you from behind, drop it on your head, and deal a lot of damage. It will try to ambush you, so you have to actively look for Pauluma all the time. Thankfully, it has very low health at this point. Next, we have to descend into the Rotten Vale and cite yourselves a Great Gyros. You don't have to fight the Great Gyros, you don't have to kill the Great Gyros. I do it because I'm stupid. So the thing about the Rotten Vale is that if you're not careful, the effluvia is going to eat away at your health. It's like being poisoned, and there's not really much you can do about it, other than using a torch pod to burn away the gas around you. It's kind of a neat mechanic that it can get annoying if you're not paying attention to it. And like I said, you don't have to fight Great Gyros. I do it because I like it. It's a very simple and easy fight. Like Great Jaguars, its entire body is pretty much a weak spot. I love its design. It's a Komodo dragon mixed with a cobra, and instead of poison, it paralyzes you. The most noticeable thing about this fight is that you can call a lot of minions to help it, but its moves and the minions' moves are all very easy to avoid, they're weak. It's just annoying if you get paralyzed and the effluvia is going to eat at your health at the same time. Otherwise, I just like the monster. Next is Radaban. Radaban covers itself in tar and rolls around in bones to create some armor for itself. If you destroy the armor, the fight becomes much easier, it deals less damage, and it takes more damage. Your attacks are less likely to bounce against it too. Another important thing is that I don't really know how it does it, but it also can deal sleep damage. It's going to crouch, shake around a little bit, and it's going to throw some sleeping mist around itself. If you're not careful, that can lead you to a lot of cheap shots against you. It also rolls around quite a lot, and you can interrupt the rolling throwing some pods at it, using your slinger ammo, but unless you have some good slinger ammo, I suggest you just get out of the way. Get out of the way because even though it doesn't deal a lot of damage, it can combo you quite easily and stun you as well. Next, we have to face Legiana. Legiana, we have to keep 3 things in mind when fighting a Legiana. 1, it likes to scream a lot. 2, it enjoys flying quite a bit. So bring flash pods and other means to bring it down if you can. And 3, it deals Ice Blight. Ice Blight is one of those negative status that ruins your stamina. So if you're using a weapon that uses stamina, like the hammer, dual blades, or the bow, it's a very good idea to bring some no berries. No berries will remove the Ice Blight status. I will say that Legiana doesn't seem to be a problematic fight to anyone. Its attacks don't deal a lot of damage, and unless you're using a stamina heavy weapon, even the Ice Blight isn't that much of an issue. It is, however, one of the first flying monsters that you fight, so it's pretty much a training wheel, a way for you to learn how to fight flying monsters, before you fight those really annoying ones like Azure Rathalos or Kushala Daora. Next is Odogaron. Odogaron, I know some people have trouble with Odogaron, but it's way more intimidating than it is strong. The thing about Odogaron is that it moves around a lot. It jumps around, it climbs walls, it's biting in every direction. So this can be intimidating for a new player. But if you pay attention, it's very easy to dodge every single one of the moves. It's jumping around a lot, but it also misses you a lot. If you move around too, it's never going to hit you. It's never going to hit you. Its moves seem to have a very small hitbox. It seems to have a very poor aim. So as long as you don't stand still, it's never going to hit you. It's simple. Odogaron also deals a bleeding status. The bleeding status deals damage to your health whenever you're actually doing anything. If you're running, attacking, it's going to eat at your health a little bit faster. However, there are two ways to remove this status. One is using an Astera Jerky. The second is to crouch and stand still. It only takes a couple of seconds of crouching and standing still to remove the bleeding status. However, standing still is the one thing you don't want to do when fighting an Odogaron. So I think this is the problem most people actually face. Bring some Astera Jerky and it's going to remove this mechanic. Or, if you really need to crouch, try to find some tall grass and crouch inside of it so it won't really find you in there. Okay? Next one is Rathalos. Rathalos is very similar to Rathian, however, it flies around way more, throws fire at you way more, and Rathian poisons you using the tail, Rathalos poisons you using the claws. When fighting a Rathalos, try to break the wings, because when it tries to fly away, sometimes it's going to drop back down to the ground and it's going to look confused, giving you a huge opening to deal some nice damage to it. During the fight, Anjanath appeared again and decided he wanted revenge. It didn't end up well for Anjanath. It jumped into the trap, it fucked everything up, and made things harder for both of us. Yeah, thanks Anjanath. Other than Anjanath trying to fuck things up, the fight against Rathalos went quite smoothly. And we captured it in the first opportunity we have. We don't want to play the hero, don't want to make mistakes right now. The final hunt for low rank Diablos can be a very tough one. Its attacks have a very long range, a very wide hitbox. It's very difficult to dodge an attack and counter it because it seems like its entire body is attacking you at the same time, all the time. It's quite complicated for a new player to understand what's going to hit you and how can you counter it, how can you dodge it, since it's always thrashing about all the time. One thing to keep in mind is that if you break the horns of a Diablos, you're going to nerf its damage. It seems like a suicide idea for a new player, since it's trying to use the head to attack you all the time and the head seems like the hardest place to hit on a Diablos, but once you get the idea, once you get used to it, you're going to see that breaking its horns makes the fight way easier. Another huge thing to remember when fighting Diablos is that it hates loud noises, so use some screaming pods whenever it burrows down. Throw a screaming pod at it and it's going to go back up and feel a little bit stunned so you can deal some damage. Whenever you go hunting a Diablos through a quest, there will be a free screaming pod in the chest. Go get it. And after we're done with Diablos, comes the Zorah Magdaros Part 2. And just like the first time, we jump at Zorah's back, break magma cores, say hello to Nergigante, throw some cannonballs at it, and push it away in like 15 minutes. There's nothing you can do to speed this up. It's awful. It's truly, truly awful. But thankfully, once you're done with it, it's time for high rank, baby. And with this, we start our high rank journey. We have to kill a Pukei-Pukei, It's just a little bit stronger. It has a couple new moves, one that creates a poison cloud thing, gets a little bit angrier, but it's just an introduction that every monster now has a few new moves and it's way stronger than usual. Next we had to fight an Anjanath again. However, this high rank Anjanath dealt way more damage than I was expecting. I still have a lot of low rank armor, so I was not prepared for it. And this fight was very stressful, very difficult. All the time Anjanath was damn nearly killing me. I was sweating, I was nervous the entire time. And not only was I having a lot of trouble with Anjanath, Basil decided to appear. I did not expect Basil to appear so early in the run. I thought it could only appear after you completed the story. Boy, was I wrong! I had to run away. I knew if Anjanath was giving me trouble, Basil would completely ruin my day. It would completely ruin my run, would kill me out of nowhere. I had to run. And it seems like Anjanath got the message and did the same thing. Thankfully. Then we had to hunt Pink Rathian. Pink Rathian is just a regular Rathian with stronger tail attacks. And it's way harder to cut the tail because its skin is quite tough. Your weapon will bounce unless you hit the very tip of the tail. Then I got to the final stretch. I had to farm for the canteen ingredients, the Rathian armor, and the Pink Rathian armor. Oh boy. This was hell. I almost died so many times. Rathalos decided to bother me when hunting for Rathian. Pink Rathian decided she was not going to get captured. I was getting charged by both of them the entire time. It was awful, but every little piece of armor that I got improved my defense a lot and make things easier. This made me realize if I had not farmed them, I would not complete this challenge because now it's time for the Elder Dragons. At this point, I have pretty much everything that I need. I have the Rathian and Pink Rathian set, so I have a lot of health buff, I have a lot of poison buff, I have a Pukei glaive that deals a lot of damage, I have a strong insect that also deals a lot of damage and deals poison damage. Everything is synergizing. I have a lot of items to use, a lot of healing items, I make some max potions. I think I can deal with this challenge. Then we have to fight Nergigante. I really like Nergigante's fight. He's big, fast, powerful, aggressive, but his moves are very telegraphed so you can see clearly what he's going to do. Even if it's your first time fighting, you know a big move is coming your way. The quirk about the fight is that if you don't break the spikes are going to get darker, larger, and harder, making your attacks bounce against you. Not only it gets harder to deal damage to Nergigante when the spikes get harder, but it gets a new move that's going to fly up and dive bomb at you, dealing a lot of damage. And the best way to avoid that is just dive yourself out of the way. After killing Nergigante, we have to deal with Kushala. And Kushala is a tough one. Not because it deals damage. Kushala has very weak attacks. The problem is Kushala doesn't let you play. It feels like someone's slapping the controller out of your hand all the time. It flies away from you, it pushes you back with winds, it throws hurricanes all over the place, it has a wind armor that prevents you from attacking at close range. It's an awful fight. Thankfully, we have a lot of poison and Kushala is very weak to poison. Kushala is the main reason I learned how to use the insect glaive, because when it gets out of range, I just sick my bug at it and let it do its thing. Kushala, I hate you. Next we have Valhazak. And Valhazak by itself isn't very dangerous. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, it isn't much aggressive, however, it has a debuff that can reduce your health bar in half. So what couldn't kill you in one hit before, just might do it now. bring some no berries to heal this effect, and beware. Even then, do not underestimate Valhazak. I had quite a few close calls, even more so than Kushala and Nergigante, all because of the damn health debuff. But still, we prevailed and won against the zombie dragon. Next up, Teostra. Teostra is my favorite one out of this trio. I believe it is very strong, very aggressive, it can inflict you with fire damage, explosive damage, it can inflict you with fire blight, blast blight, which if you're not careful will explode you too at the worst timing possible. Its attacks are strong, have nice damage, and can stun you. You're probably asking, why do you like this fight? It sounds like hell. Well, because when compared to Kushala, it feels like someone's slapping the controller out of my hands all the time, and Valhazak is just annoying me. You can clearly see that Teostra is trying to kill me. It's easy and simple. It's trying to kill me. It's powerful. It's there. You know what it's going to do. It's going to explode all over my face. Still, that's a very fun fight. And Teostra almost killed me a bunch. I played a little too safe, otherwise I was going to get comboed, especially because it can stun you so quickly you won't even notice it. Then it's time for Xeno'jiiva, the big blue baby dragon. Xeno'jiiva is actually quite simple. Its whole gimmick is that it's a very large dragon that you can only hit the front paws and sometimes the face. The idea is to break the paws, to make it fall and hit the face and the chest to deal more damage. When compared to other monsters, like Kushala or hell even Rathalos, when they start to fly away, you have to throw flash pods or try to hit their head and use smoke bombs to try and bring them down. When Xeno'jiiva flies away, you can just throw a few pods at it and it's gonna come crashing down the floor. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it creates a huge opening. It's very simple for a last boss monster. And like I said before, Xeno'jiiva is very weak to poison, we're using a poison optimized build. Quickly it went down, it took a lot of damage, the fight went way faster than expected. And this is how I beat Monster Hunter World with just one life. And you can do it too. I know Monster Hunter can be quite intimidating for new players, since the boss fights take so long, but with a little bit of knowledge of the game, a little bit of effort, you can do it too. Thank you so much for watching. This video has been quite an experience. I learned a lot about video editing, I still need to flex these editing muscles to prepare for Wilds. I learned quite a bit of stuff from Monster Hunter, even though I already thought I knew a lot about Monster Hunter World, this run taught me a lot. And I'm gonna get ready for Wilds. I wanna make videos about every monster, every weapon, strategies, guides, memes. And if you like what you see, if you like my humor, if you like the little dinosaur, I also stream on Twitch. I play not only Monster Hunter, I play a little bit of everything. We learn about the games there, we talk about every kind of games. Everybody's welcome. And we're gonna go nuts when Wilds come out. I have to keep making some videos and get better at editing. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.